For some strange reason, I really remember the Tuckrule very vividly today. Yo, shout out to everybody here in the building. I see Dave, Gio, Ian, Mondo, my brother Hammer in the building. One up, Bourbon. Shout out to everybody, man. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raider. Salute to you all, man. I appreciate you guys for being here. There's a lot to unpack at this point. We already know what happened this morning. Tom Brady has officially retired for the second time in his long, illustrious career. And with that being said, he is not an option any longer for our Las Vegas Raiders. So now we have to go look in other places. We're going to talk about our options. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. We're going to talk about CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Jimmy G. There's just a lot to unpack in this live, man. I salute you guys for being here. Make sure you guys wipe them feet. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that subscribe button. Now, I have to say this, right? It is what it is. Tom Brady retired. I think a lot of us thought maybe that was an option. I think us, the mainstream media, the beat writers, everybody thought that this would be an option, right? So I assumed, the writing was on the wall. Ziegler, Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady, the system, right? Well, it's official. Tom Brady, and it looks as though, I don't know if you guys watched the video, he retired. He was really emotional. So, it's a wrap. Now we have to move on. I do not know if you guys seen this today, but Devontae Adams put in his stories on Instagram a video of Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball in silver and black. And the caption said, literally, with the emoji. Literally. Now, I understand why Tay would want Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I think that Tay would probably want Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady. Let's just keep it a buck. You played his whole career with them outside of this past season. Those guys have beat up the stat sheets, been to NFC championships together. It makes all the sense in the world, right? But at the end of the day, man, we have to be honest with ourselves, you guys. We beat up these Raider teams, these past 10 plus years because of, us not having a defense, right? Well, if you go out and get Aaron Rodgers, let's just say, even if we traded DC for a first round pick and we used that one this year in order to bring in Aaron Rodgers and give him another future one for next year or whatever, right? Doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you are spending way too much money and way too much draft capital on bringing in a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers. I thought Tom Brady was perfect because you didn't have to give up anything for him, just some money, right? We have to clear a bunch of cap space just to bring in Aaron Rodgers. Like it's not even, it makes no sense financially to bring in Aaron Rodgers at this point, unless he restructures his contract and really does some shit that he's never done in his long, illustrious career and really says, you know what, I want to go out on top. I know him seeing Tom Brady lose to Dallas in his last, playoff game. I think that maybe he wants to go out on top, right? But there's just a lot that you have to do in order to make this happen. I know a lot of people won't agree with me on this, but at this point, I'm bringing back Stidham. I'm bringing back Stidham for the cheap. And I'm going to go get a quarterback at 7, or I'm trading up to go get the quarterback of the future. At this point, you know, unless A-Rod works with us, you know, Green Bay works with us, and maybe there's some type of deal where we can send, you know, Derek Carr and Darren Waller to Green Bay, right? And a first next year or some shit. I don't know. For Aaron Rodgers services, where you don't have to give up $1 million draft pieces in order to do it, then maybe you think about it. But at this point, I'm bringing Stidham back, and I'm going to get a CJ Stroud, a Will Levis, a Anthony Richardson, AR-15 out of Florida. You have to get young at this point, because at this, we have to look at it. I hope that Josh McDaniels does not get desperate at this point and just tries to do everything and anything under the sun to just win a championship right now. Don't get me wrong. I want to, but I don't know if that's going to happen if we go get an A-Rod and we can't build this defense. You guys, if we go get an Aaron Rodgers, we literally have to hit on that defense perfectly in the draft. There's no room for error at this point. Those 11 picks, I think, turn into like maybe say 8 or 9 picks, right? Because you're giving up a lot to bring in A-Rod, and you have to hit on the head. You have to hit it on the nail every pick in the draft. And that is a very, very difficult thing to do. So, you know, a lot of these teams that are winning in today's NFL, they're winning because they have rookie guys on rookie contracts. At this point, if A-Rod does not want to work with us, restructure, you know, figure out some type of way to bring him in and it makes sense, I'm not going that route. You bring back Stidham, you go young. Simple and plain. Jimmy G's not the option. He's always hurt. Durability is a factor with him. At this point, you guys, I am really ready to go all in with Tom Brady being retired on the future of this team. I'm sick and tired of watching the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, Burrow with Cincinnati. You know what I mean? I mean, the list goes on. Purdy now, and he'll miss a year now. That is insane. He's about to miss a year after having Tommy John surgery. That's insane. So they're probably going back to Trey Lance. So he's not an option at this point. It's time to go young. It's time to go young. You know, I was either ready to go old as shit with Tom Brady or go young. And at this point, bring back Stidham, go young. Shout out to Jason Hall, man. Well, shit. Draft the QB or AR, who's better? All love. Draft the QB. Draft one, because at this point, all we're going to continue to do is do the same thing over and over and over. You guys, not allocating any money to the defense and just paying for a quarterback. That makes no sense, right? That makes no sense. It doesn't. You know what I mean? So we beat up this team. We beat up Derek Carr for years because, you know, the defense, right? We beat up him. Well, we beat him up as well for his play on the field. But the thing was that he never had a defense, right? Well, I don't want to do that anymore. Go all in on defense this year. If we don't have our QB of the future this year, cool. As long as we have a stout defense moving forward, then we can continue to try and go get us a young guy. You know what I mean? But we have to nail this draft, you guys. We have to nail this draft. Have to. Shout out to my dog, Jason, man. At this point, though, brother, I'm going young. Shout out to Gio. Bummed, might be a blessing in disguise, might just be time to accept a full rebuild with rookie quarterback, draft defense, and build a foundation that can take us into the next decade. Rebuild, reload. I still don't think this is a rebuild, Gio. I get it, like if we don't have a true quarterback, but if you build the defense in the offseason, you go out and get a stout defense, you draft well, this is not a rebuild. I seen the 49ers go from 2-14 to the Super Bowl the following year. Build the defense, and we'll be okay. Shout out to Gio. Shout out to my dog, Jason Hunter. I mean, if Hooker is there, we draft him and see if he's good. Damn autocorrect. I agree. I like Hendon Hooker. I like him. I'm not against going to bring him in the middle rounds. Shout out to my dog. Shout out to Sean, too. Rodgers already said he'd rework his contract. Look, easier said than done, Sean. I'll believe it if it happens. Let's just say that. Shout out to my dog, Sean, man. Shout out to my boy, Top Beats. Yo, Docs, this changes this strategy big time. We can't afford Rodgers. The key is we trade up, which is costly. I think we'll bring in somebody like Jimmy G and draft a Richardson if we're lucky. I can see that happening, but why bring in a Jimmy G when you can bring in Stidham for cheaper? Just bring in Stidham for the cheaper. Go get a guard, go get a tackle in free agency or in the draft, preferably the draft, and just build the defense up. Bring in Stidham. He'll be that bridge guy. He knows the system. Go get another young guy. Shout out to my dog, Top Beats, man. Let me get these supers in real quick, y'all. I'm going to get you guys going. Maybe we go with Stiddy and draft Hooker in the third and wait till next year's crop of QBs. We need defense and O-line help. I can definitely see that happening, Jay. Definitely. And you know what? At the end of the day, Davante Adams is one of the richest wide receivers in the league. He's going to have to deal with it, y'all. He's going to have to bite the bullet. If we don't bring in Aaron Rodgers and we bring Stidham back or bring in a young guy, he's going to have to bite the bullet. He got the deal that he wanted. He's on the childhood team that he loved. It is what it is. I get a lot of people, oh, Davante's going to be unhappy. Well, it is what it is. You're playing the game you love for millions upon millions of dollars. At the end of the day, if he's not happy, it is what it is, bro. Like, look, we can't try to right this ship for one player. We can't, man. We have to write this for the entire organization. If Davante is pissed, rightfully so, he's upset. He thought he was coming here to play with, one of his best friends, with Derek Carr. That didn't work out. If the A-Rod situation doesn't work out, it is what it is. Look, you're getting paid a ton of cash to play a childhood game that you love. It is what it is. Shout out to AD, man. If we bring in A-Rod, we'll be in cap hell next offseason with Tay and A-Rod. Contract really kicking in. I get it's A-Rod, but we aren't a QB away. Shout out to AD. At this point, we're not. Defense. Shout out to my dog, AD, man. I'm good on Rodgers. We got a lot of holes. Maul, this is facts, bro. This is facts. This is facts plus tax, man. Now that we got all those supers in, man, let's talk some football. Oh, we got one more. Shout out to my boy, Big Drox. Davante Adams just posted something on his Instagram. I think it's about Aaron Rodgers coming to Vegas. I don't know. What do you think, Docs? I already kind of said what I said on that, but I'll say this. Davante is definitely chirping for Aaron Rodgers. It's clear. I mean, I said it before already on this show. I think that he would have rather had Aaron Rodgers even over Tom Brady. The familiarity, played his entire career with him outside of this past season with DC and Stiddy. But it doesn't really matter what Davante Adams wants. It really doesn't. If you're going to have to mortgage the farm in order to bring in Aaron Rodgers money-wise and draft capital-wise, does it make sense to bring in a guy like him? I don't think it does. I truly do not believe it makes any sense in the world. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, you guys, let's just be real. We have to hope that we go out and draft well. We have to hit this draft. We got to get an A+ draft. There has to be an A+ draft. And we have to hit in free agency as well. Like, this is a pivotal offseason for this franchise. For real. Like, definitely. We have to hit everything on the head. Let me see. Shout out to Top Beats. I think Stidham will improve with more snaps. But if we can draft new top talent on defense, corners, linebackers, and buy some talent on the O-line, I think we'll be competitive. Facts, bro. We were competitive this season. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were, people killed our O-line this season. People killed our defense this season, and we were still competitive. Outside of that Chiefs game and that New Orleans game, every game was pretty much a one-score game, right? So we were still competitive this year with an O-line that a lot of people thought weren't good this year and a terrible defense, right? And we proved bringing in Stidham against the number one defense against the 49ers, we played well. You know what I mean? We played well. So if you build that defense, man, the W's will pile up at this point. It will. Shout out to Top Beats. Shout out to Kenny Mack. The first move is to get 3 tech, Payne in free agency, get Hooker with a second or third, and defense heavy in the draft. I'm not against that. Kenny Mack, I'm not. Now, I think at this point, if you don't get an Aaron Rodgers or a Jimmy G, you're going to have a lot of money to spend in free agency. And I'm not against putting a lot of that towards going to get a Deron Payne from the Commanders. I'm not. You need a stout defensive tackle. We got it. Starts in the trenches. At this point, go get him. If it's not a Hargraves or one of those guys, go get a Deron Payne. He's still young. I think he's 25, 26 years old. I'm not against that. He's coming off a career year. I think he had like 12 sacks, right? 11 and a half, 12 sacks, somewhere around there, maybe even 12 and a half with the Commanders. That's a must. We got to go get a true DT. Shout out to my dog, Kenny Mack. Let me see. Shout out to my dog, Max, with the 50p special, man. Appreciate you, King. Morning Docs. I like Stroud at 7 or trade up to 5 with Indy. But if we draft all defense and then in the 6th or 7th round, we draft low luster quarterback like Robinson from UCLA, the guy who said himself, I want to be a Raider. Yes, Max, I do believe I've seen that interview. Didn't he grow up? He grew up in Southern California, right? He grew up a Raider fan. I'm not against going out in the later rounds to go get a guy. You know, we've seen in previous years, right? Russell Wilson was a mid-round pick. Brady was a 6th-round pick out of Michigan. Like some of these quarterbacks, we've seen what Purdy did this year, right? As Mr. Irrelevant, the last draft pick in the entire draft, helped go on an 8-game, 9-game win streak or something like that to go into the playoffs. We learn now. We learn, right? We have the money now. We do not have the rich quarterback that we have to spend money on. You know what I mean? I get a lot of people will say, well, if you kept Derek Carr and built the defense, look, that would still be $30-40 million that we have to allocate to a quarterback. At this point, if we're not going to do that, that is a lot of money that you can put towards the defensive side of the ball. At the end of the day, I'm all for going to get a guy in the later rounds. But me personally, I think, and as a Raider fan, right, I may be delusional, but I feel like this is going to be the last time we're drafting top 10 in a long time. You have to take a shot at one of those top guys in the draft this season. And I think if it's Stroud or Levis, if these there, I think Levis goes to Indy. But I think we do have to trade up. I do believe we're going to have to trade up to go get Stroud. I don't care. If we have to use draft capital in order to move up to get a guy that may be the future of our franchise, I'm cool with that. Giving up 2 firsts for Aaron Rodgers, that's hard to swallow because then you still have to pay him $50 million, right? So this is the year. Max, shout out to you once again on the 50-piece special, my brother. You have to go. You got to go. You got to go early. You got to go early. If Jalen Carter is off the board, which I think he goes number 1 in Chicago, you have to go get a Stroud, an AR-15, a Levis. You have to go get one of those guys. Shout out to Rube, man. Colts trade up for Stroud. Ryans might want a defensive guy with Carter. Cards don't need QB. Bears have Fields. Seahawks and Lions might pass on the QB. Yeah, I mean, look, Goff had a hell of a year with the Lions. Still don't believe that they're sold on him completely, but maybe. The Seahawks, they said they want to bring back Geno. I'll believe that when I see it. Like I said yesterday, I believe the Seahawks, most of their success in the NFL was with a quarterback on a rookie deal. So I don't know if they want to go out there and pay $20+ million for a Geno Smith coming off a career year. Before that year, he was pretty bad. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they want to take a risk on paying a Geno that kind of money. I still believe that Seattle may take a quarterback early. So that's the team that you may have to look at. Like we may have to trade up in front of them to go get a quarterback. I don't know. We shall see. It's going to get real tricky come draft time. I'll tell you that. Shout out to my dog, Rube. Shout out to Eris. I think Carr's value will go up. More picks for us. Hopefully, Eris. I'm praying to God that it does go up with Brady off. He's off. The list of all these teams. Maybe Tampa Bay comes calling, right? Maybe they come calling and they offer up the farm for Derek Carr. I do believe it's going to be a trade. I know a lot of people think he's going to get cut. I believe it's going to be a trade, and I believe that we still get some nice draft capital for DC. Shout out to Eris. He still has to play ball, though. Shout out to Hammer. I do not want to go that route, my brother. I know that Josh McDaniels was a big fan of Baker Mayfield in the past. I know he beat us this year with the Rams on 2-day prep. Look, man, I do not want to go all in on Baker Mayfield. I'm good, Hammer. Go get a young guy and let's just look. I'd rather go with Stidham and go draft a young guy. Baker Mayfield, no. Black Sunday, I slept through it, bro. I literally just woke up an hour ago. I got missed calls from Hammer, from Wasted. I seen a bunch of messages. I had like 45 messages on Instagram. Twitter was blowing up. My YouTube was blowing up with the Brady news. I'm not shocked at all. We all knew this would be an option. Did we all? A lot of us think that he didn't want to go out like that. I thought he wanted to go out on top, right? But the reason why I was kind of shocked by this is if it's true, right, that Brady did lose, his wife, right, because of football. I thought maybe he'd give it another year. I mean, shit, unless he, they trying to rekindle that. I don't know. I just thought maybe if the rumors were true about him losing his wife over football, that he would come back another year and give it another shot, right? So, but I don't know. It is what it is. Brady's retired. We're moving on from that. It is what it is. Shout out to Chance Worthy. What about Richardson the first? I'm not against going out to get AR-15. I'm just thinking that at this point, he's a super, super duper boomer bust product. I think even with Levis, that's my favorite quarterback in this draft, but he's a boom or bust guy, right? It's kind of scary to put all those eggs in that basket. I think that CJ Stroud is, to me, the most clear-cut quarterback in this draft that is kind of NFL ready. Y'all might kill me for that, but I do believe that he's the most ready, the most NFL ready. So would I take a flyer on Anthony Richardson? Definitely. Would I take one on Will Levis, which is my favorite quarterback in this draft? Definitely. But I think that CJ Stroud, which I've heard rumblings behind the scenes that, I said this yesterday as well, that Zeig is a huge fan of Stroud and Josh McDaniels is a huge fan of Bryce Young. Young will be off the board. You know what I mean? So maybe we can move up and get CJ Stroud. I like his game a lot. The dude has an arm on him. He can make every throw. And like I said before, he's not that traditional pocket passer. He is a pocket passer, but he can use his legs and get mobile. I'm all for going all out and going to get CJ Stroud at this point. Welcome, everybody, to Coffee and Convo, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Wipe them feet, hit them thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. We are all talking about the breaking news today, you guys. Tom Brady has officially retired, so he is no longer an option for our Raiders. So the options at this point are going out and trading for a 39-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, which will at least cost us 2 first-round picks and probably $40-50 million a year. Or you go get a Jimmy G on a prove-it deal because he's coming off that broken foot. You can bring in a guy like Brissett. You know what I mean? He knows the system. He'd be a cheap option. He looked pretty good with Cleveland this year. And, I'm not going to say he looked pretty good. He looked average. You know what I mean? But he knows this system. Me personally, just bring back Stidham. Just bring Stidham back and go get a young guy in this draft. Let me see. Shout out to everybody here in the building, man. A lot of comments. Let me see. Roundtable says Young, other than height and weight, is clearly better than any quarterback in this draft. Roundtable, I think this, right? He's off the board. He's off the board. I don't think that Bryce Young is even an option for us at all unless we got to give up everything to Chicago to move up to number 1. Do you think Chicago would want to move up to number 1 knowing that Jalen Carter is on the board for them? That's tough. Unless they say, you know what, let's go get some offensive line help. We'll move back to 7. We'd have to give up a lot in order to move up to 1. You know what I mean? Young is gone at 1 or 2. Period, point blank, the end. I don't think that DeMarco Ryans is sold on Davis Wells, right? The young Stanford pup. You know what I mean? I don't think that he's sold on him. I do believe that DeMarco wants to build that defense up. But if you have a chance in order to go get a quarterback of your future, right, I think that Houston takes that shot, right? I do. I think they take that shot on that. So I think that Young is gone. Bro, Calm, I'm not seeing your messages, bro. I'm not seeing your messages, King. I promise you. I went and looked for them, brother. I've not seen them. I've not seen anything, like at all. I haven't seen one message. What's your name on there, brother? I've not seen anything. But he said, I want some Oaklosvegas shirts. Can you bring some to Vegas? They're only for order, my brother. They're only for order. Go to Oaklosvegas.com. They're only for order. So I don't have any physical copies on hand. I have some shirts that I'm going to be wearing myself, but we do not have any physical stuff. We'll have some during the season, next season, available when we do the blackout parties and all that other stuff. But I don't have any physical merch. You just got to go to Oaklosvegas.com. Shout out to Chuck, man. Defense plus Stidham did him. I hear you, bro. I hear you. At this point, man, I think that Josh and them are speaking it to Stidham behind the scenes and saying, look, come back. We'll pay you more than what you've ever been paid before. You know what I mean? It'd probably be about a $5 million deal or some shit. I mean, because you're telling him we don't know if you're going to start, right? I mean, that's kind of the selling point. We're bringing you back. We don't know if you're going to start. You're going to have to fight it out with another guy. Maybe there'll be some incentives in this contract that if you do start, you'll get paid more, which I think that will happen. But at this point, all in on defense, bring Stidham back. In limited fashion, I like what I've seen with Stidham. You know what I mean? I do. Shout out to the Raider, man. We're not far away on defense. 9 of our 11 losses were by 1 possession. Get 1 premier defensive tackle, sign quality depth, we'll be fine. Trade the farm for a QB and throw the bank at Payne, and we're straight. Okay. So the Raider, you're all for going all in on A-Rod. I hear you, my brother. I'm all for the Deron Payne situation, though. Definitely. Shout out to Gio. Hopefully we're not drafting this high for a while. So why not grab a Stroud or a Young and build a team during the Q? Yes, this is the year. This is the year to do it. We've seen it this year, you guys. Like I said before, when Jimmy G went down, Trey Lance went down, a young guy, Purdy, I think out of Iowa, I believe Iowa, right? Came in, Mr. Irrelevant, and helped propel that team into the playoffs and into the NFC Championship. You know what I mean? Where they could have won that game if he wasn't out. You know what I mean? That would have been an entirely different game. I still think the Eagles win, but with Purdy, it's a different type of game. You know what I mean? So teams are showing now, you guys. This is the reason. I didn't want to move on from Derek Carr to get Tom Brady. I wanted to move on from Derek Carr because these past 9 seasons weren't working, and I wanted to get Young at the position. I wanted to go get a new guy that we can groom and build up. And if that was bringing in Brady and grooming our young guy for a year or two, it'd have been great. I didn't want to bring a young guy in to groom under Derek Carr because of the divide in the nation. We would have never heard the end of it. Nobody would have wanted to give the young guy a chance. This would have been Derek Carr's team forever, right? I wanted to bring in Tom Brady to help groom a young guy that we can draft in this year's draft and move on, because Brady's going to move on. He would have retired and we would have had our guy ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think the writing is on the wall. We're looking at all these teams. I've said it before. I'm going to say it a million times again. Rookie deal quarterbacks. Rookie deal quarterbacks. That's the way to win in this league. You have to draft well, build a stout defense up, and build a nice offense up. It starts in the trenches. Keep building that O-line. We have some parts already on that O-line, and build that defensive line, which we already have some moving parts as well. Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. You have to build the trenches. Build the trenches, and I think we'll be okay. Let me see. Shout out to Primos. Tanner McKee out of Stanford in the later rounds. I'm not a huge fan of Tanner McKee. I'm going to be honest, Primos. Shout out to my dog, Primos. I'm not a huge fan of him at all. But in the later rounds, if they're sold on him, cool. Go get him. I trust this regime. I think that Ziegler's going to do what's best for this team. If he thinks that Tanner McKee is an option in the later rounds out of Stanford, I'm cool with it. Shout out to my dog, Primos, man. Shout out to Blake. I'm good with either AR-12 or Stroud. I am too. I just don't want to pay that kind of money. I don't want to hear the same excuses next year and the following year and the following year that if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get it done, it's because we didn't have a defense. I don't want to hear that, right? Go all in on defense. Go all in on defense. Cincinnati had a nice defense this year. Kansas City, what did they do this past draft? And I said this at the Ahern. I said they had one of the most sneakiest drafts in the world. They built their defense up. They went and got a Leo Chanel. You know what I mean? They went and got a McDuffie out of Washington, a corner. Like, they built their defense up to the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, and look where they are right now. Look what Philly did. They went all in on the defensive side of the ball. After going out and trading for A.J. Brown, they went completely all in on defense. They went and got 2 lockdown corners. They built that defensive line crazy. They got some nice linebackers. Philly did it the right way. They went out and traded for, a young guy out of New Orleans. Look, they went all in. They went all in. Gardner, you know what I mean? They went all in. Got to build the defense up. Got to build the defense up. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Top Beats once again. What about Clayton Tune out of the ACC sleeper? I still got to do my homework on Clayton Tune. Top Beats. Scout put me up on him. I got to do my homework on him. Put a pin in that one, my brother. I promise you that's going to be a name that I'm going to put down in my mental Rolodex and do some homework on. Shout out to my big bro, Top Beats. Always supporting the channel, man. Shout out to LM32. Dorian Thompson. I'm not against that. The young pup out of UCLA. I'm not against that. Like I said before, I'm just going to sit back and see what this regime does. I trust him. I trust Ziegler to go out and get the right guy. I'm just going to play the waiting game. But the thing is this, you guys, I said this yesterday. We have to go get a young guy. I don't know how Zieg can sell it to Mark Davis that we're giving up 3 number 1 draft picks in 3 years back to back to back. I know the Rams never drafted. They gave up all their shit and they won one, right? They got a Super Bowl. But I don't know how you sell that to Mark Davis by saying we traded 1 and a 2 for Devontae. Now we're trading back-to-back first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers at 39. It's a tough pill to swallow. Now, if Mark Davis says, I want star power, I don't care what it takes, go get star power, bring in Aaron Rodgers, then I'm cool. It makes Devontae happy. It makes the fan base happy. I'm cool with it. I just don't know how we're going to make that happen unless, Mark Davis is willing to pony up a lot of cash up front. He would have to pony up a lot of cash up front. to bring in Aaron Rodgers to make it make sense to still be able to build this roster. Wouldn't mind a trade for Bailey Zappi. Look, man, Zap's my guy, Gio. You know this, man. That's my guy. He looked pretty good with New England this year when Mac Jones was sitting out. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be against going out to get him, but I think that New England's going to keep him around. I do. They're not sold on Mac Jones. I would not be shocked if Bailey Zappi is the quarterback of the future for New England. Mac Jones is another name that we're probably going to have to hear a lot moving forward if Bill Belichick is not sold on him. Maybe Josh puts out the bat signal and says, we bring in Mac Jones. I'm not a fan of that at all, but that's another option. He's on a rookie deal. Yeah. Shout out to John. Here's the play in my mind's eye. Free agency, defensive tackle, O-line. We're here. We're here right now. Draft QB high, we're here right now. Rest of draft on D. Make the damn playoffs. Boom. John, I'm here with you, bro. I'm here with you. I feel exactly how you feel right now, my brother. Facts. Facts plus tax. Shout out to my dog, John, man. Shout out to everybody here in the building, man. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. Let me see. Bray, that's another name you can keep an eye on. Gardner Minshew. I'm not sold on him. I think that he looked okay. Those few games he had to come in for Hurts. I'm not a huge fan of Gardner Minshew. I know all the hype around him. He got the swag and all that good stuff. Gardner Minshew was a good quarterback, but he's not the answer. That's another guy you would have to bring in, and he'd have to learn another system. He done bounced around the league already. He had to learn another system. You know what I mean? At this point, it's like, do you want to bring in a Gardner Minshew when Derek Carr struggled to learn this system? Why would you bring in a Gardner Minshew who would do the same thing? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. At that point, you might as well just kept Carr. Even though Gardner Minshew would be cheaper. Shout out to LM. Happy birthday, LM32. Everybody in the chat, let our brother know happy birthday, man. Say scrubs for me. Shout out to you, my brother. My mic is still down. We're still caught in the middle of a snowstorm. So tomorrow I will be going to Best Buy to get this piece that I need to connect my mic back up. But yeah. So the scrubs may not sound that good. Yeah, okay. I would take Baker over Minshew all day. And that's terrible. That's terrible. I would definitely take Baker over Minshew. King, you got to understand this, bro. Lamar is not an option, bro. He's not an option at all. He's not an option at all. And he would be even more expensive than anybody else that we're talking about. The Brady, the Aaron Rodgers, all these guys. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Eventually, you're going to have to pay him $50, $60 million a year. And this guy has missed, I believe, 10 games in the past 2 seasons. I don't want to do that. I want to bring in a guy that hasn't struggled with durability issues. I want a guy that can come in. That's why I wanted Iron Man Brady, a guy that's 45 years old, that's still out there playing every damn game, right? Every damn game. I want a guy that's healthy. A-Rod, healthy. If we do go out there and bring in a big name, it'd probably be A-Rod. Let me see. Shout out to Raider Cali Boy. The end of an era in football history. Brady, what now? Yeah, that's the question we're all asking right now, my brother. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be real with you. Now that Brady's not a Raider, I am very, very happy that he is out of the league. Very happy that he's out of the league. Bye-bye. Let me see. Dustin, I don't agree with that at all, bro. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, most quarterbacks take a few years to get their act together, right? But in a perfect world, you bring in a veteran quarterback, even if it is Stidham this year, and you start him and you have CJ Stroud sit out for a season. I don't think it's going to take 3 seasons for Stroud. I do not. This is a young man's league now at the quarterback position. I don't think Stroud will need that long in order to get it together. This isn't the same league when you sat Aaron Rodgers for like 3 or 4 seasons, right? It's not the same league where you sit Jordan Love for all those damn seasons. I think Green Bay is ready to move on, you know what I mean? And they're ready to just do their thing with Jordan Love or go another direction. But it's a young man's league. It's a young man's league. Watts, I don't think Carr wants to come back. I don't want him back anyway. Look, at this point, that relationship is broken. That relationship is broken. Move on, keep it pushing, get that money, get that salary cap space, and hopefully some draft capital for him. At this point, that relationship is broken. moving forward, if Josh McDaniels is your head coach, there's no reason to bring back Derek Carr anyway. It didn't work in year one. It didn't work. You know what I mean? And Josh seen something with Derek in that system that just didn't work well for him. You know what I mean? So let's just be real. DC had a very, very, very down year, this year. So it's no turning back on that shit. That shit is done. Gio, with Brady gone, every free agent quarterback price just went up. So Jimmy G and others will be looking to get paid. More reason to draft a quarterback and sit him under Stidham. Talk that shit, my brother. Shout out to Gio. Shout out to Serge as well. It's Mahomes' time. The refs showed it in the AFC Championship. That is facts. This is facts. I'm hoping that Philly goes out there, man, and wreck shop, though. I want Philly to go out there and dog walk these guys. Get them out. Get the Chiefs out the way. Shout out to my brother Ant, man, for the birthday coffee and convo cup. Shout out to my brother. Let me ask you guys in the chat. Just one name, one last name. That's all I need. Who is your quarterback going into 2023? Put Rodgers, put Stroud, put Stiddy. Does not matter. Put one name in the comment section. I want to see who you guys got as our quarterback moving forward. Okay, I got Rodgers. I got Stroud. I got Stiddy. Rodgers, Stroud. There we go. A lot of Strouds, a lot of Rodgers. Stidham, one up, got Stidham. Troy got Hooker, a.k.a. Hooked. Shout out to my boy Troy. Stroud, Stiddy, okay. Rule, interesting one. Anthony Richardson, okay. Like that. Dom says Docs, yeah. Put me out there, man. I got pretty much two fucked up rotator cuffs, but yeah, throw me out to the Wolves, man. Raiders 27 says Peterman. Alex says Uncle Rico. A lot of Rodgers. Okay. I hear you. The thing is this. You're pretty much doing the same thing that you were doing with Derek Carr if you bring in Rodgers. The only thing that you're banking on is that Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback, which I think we can all agree on, right? A-Rod is better than Derek Carr. So we're banking on bringing in an Aaron Rodgers for all that money and all that draft capital to win for us the same way that we've been losing, pretty much with a mediocre, at best, defense. Like I said, if you go get A-Rod, you guys, we have to hit every draft pick on the head, like every one of them. Talk that shit, Mike. My boy Levis. John says the ghost of Stabler. Paul says my creative player from Madden. A lot of interesting names coming out here right now. I see it. .com got Stroud. Okay. Shout out to Noah. DOX ENT. So we go get Stiddy and play for and play for 24 quarterback lotto. Just build the defense through the draft and free agency in the meantime. That would be a hard sell for Davis. Your thoughts? It would be a hard sell. It would be. But the one guy that he wanted, which was Tom Brady, retired. And is that Josh McDaniels or David Ziegler's fault? No, not at all. The man finally just said, you know what, at 45, the number that he said previously that he wanted to retire at, 45, he actually did it. So, look, if Mark wants Aaron Rodgers, he has to go to his GM and his head coach and say, you do everything in your power to bring him in, and I'm gonna pay him a shit ton of money, cash money to bring that salary cap hit low, to bring it down. This is on Mark Davis. If we want Aaron Rodgers, Mark has to say, I got a shit ton of cash lined up on this table in this hotel room. Tell him to come over here and collect it right now. The only way we bring in Aaron Rodgers is if Mark Davis ponies up a lot of bread up front to bring that salary cap very, very, very low. So let me see. I'm looking for 2024 drafts for QB of the future. Not against that. That's a way, way better draft for QBs in 2024. Let me see. Kevin Burton, do me a favor, bro. Start your own channel and put your takes out there. And I'll subscribe. If the price is right, got to go get Rod. I'm not against that, Paul. I'm not against that. Let me see. Shout out to LM. Docs, you've done your homework. I'm not going back to the Fresno. Could you imagine that, LM? Could you imagine that? You bench Derek Carr and you trade him, and then you go draft another quarterback out of Fresno State. Could you imagine that? And I like Jake's game. I like Jake's game. He's not a better quarterback than Derek Carr. But could you imagine that? Going out to get a Jake Haener out of Fresno State the year you bench Derek Carr and trade him or cut him? I'm good. I am good. Stay away from Fresno State when it comes to quarterbacks, at least just this year. At least just this year. Charles says Carr would have to support the Raiders again. Facts. And that's another thing, Watts, that a lot of people aren't talking about. If you bring in Aaron Rodgers with all that money, what does that leave for Josh Jacobs? Do you realize that is what, 40, 50 millions for A-Rod? And then if you want to franchise tag Josh, that's another $10 million. That is $60 million off the books pretty much for Aaron Rodgers and Josh Jacobs. Then what do you do? There's no money to put towards the defense. What do? You restructure Chandler Jones. You restructure Max Crosby. You do a bunch of restructures, right? And then you have to foot the bill later on. And then it sets us up for failure in years to come. It just doesn't make any sense. So for those who are screaming to bring Josh Jacobs back, I don't know if you can say go out and get A-Rod unless A-Rod takes a shit ton of a restructure. Yeah. No Clemson player or Fresno players, please. There you go, Watts. If you sign Stidham, you can keep Jacobs for sure. There you go. Let me see. Draft a QB this year. Or draft a QB maybe this year. If not next year, roll with Stiddy this season and build that damn defense to be great for the next 10 years. I agree, Kevin. I think that's the route we got to go. Raw. If the Bucks are still all in on right now, right? If they're all in on right now, right? If they say we want to run it back, our players, a lot of these guys were injured in Tampa Bay. We want to run it back. They're healthy now. We just need a quarterback. I can see Tampa Bay going out and trading for Derek Carr in order to win right now. I can see that. If their defense is healthy, if their O-line is healthy, if everything around them is healthy, I can definitely see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers saying, let's go out and get Derek Carr. Or they could potentially go out and say, you know what, let's go draft a guy and get young now. We won a championship with Tom Brady. We got the job done pretty much. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to win a ring. They got one, right? So now they can hit the reset button in Tampa Bay as well. So I don't know. Shout to Stay Solid, man. My dog in the building. Yeah, that's true. OG Faye. So with Tom Brady retiring, I believe they're like in a $50 million hole, right? Isn't it like $50 million, $60 million, some crazy astronomical number? They're like negative $55, $60 million because of Tom Brady retiring. You're right, OG. You are right, Faye. Totally forgot about that. Shout out to my dog, Faye. You are correct. So I don't even know if Derek Carr is even an option over there. They may have to go draft a quarterback. Let me see. You think we play this like the Seahawks, average quarterback and build a defense? I'm with that, Brandon. Those guys made it to the playoffs this year with Geno Smith. Think about that. He had a hell of a year, but, they went out and drafted, Kenneth Walker a year ago out of Michigan State. They went and got Tariq Woolen, a monster, one of my favorite corners in last year's draft. They went and got Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati. They built that defense up. They're trying to bring that Legion of Boom 2.0, and they won a lot of games because, that defense was good for them, and it's only going to be better in year 2. So I definitely can see us playing this like the Seahawks. Definitely go get a rookie quarterback, or Stidham on a cheap contract and just continue to build that defense. We already have the moving parts on the O, you guys. We already have the moving parts. You have Devontae Adams. You have Waller. You have Hunter Renfrow. You bring Josh Jacobs back, which I believe we do. Like, you have all the weapons. You just got to continue to build the defense up. Let me see. Yeah, Alex. They have a great team on both sides of the ball. San Francisco has a great team on both sides of the ball. Hurts my soul to say that, but they have a great team on both sides of the ball. Let me see. Shout to Spitting Fire. Shout to Mello. John Beck. Yeah, Cardo, I'm with you on that, bro. All our games were close. Just build the defense, sign steady, draft a young QB. Facts. Facts, brother. Facts. SF secret sauce. Trenches. There you go, the jukester. San Francisco's secret sauce. The trenches. The trenches. Build the O-line up. Build that defensive line up. Boom. Good to go. Good to go. No, Rob, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. We can't afford, Mark Davis can't afford to lose in the city of Las Vegas another year. Can't. When did we go to Vegas? Was it 2020? 2020, right? So this is coming up on 3 years where we made the playoffs one time. I think Las Vegas would like to see a playoff game in Las Vegas. I don't think that Josh deserves another year after this if he shits the bed this season. Doesn't matter who your quarterback is. Doesn't matter who your quarterback is. So no, like if we shit the bed this season, Josh got to go. Josh McDaniels got to go. It's on Zeke to go find a guy to replace his guy. It is what it is. If you go bring Stidham in, you go draft a quarterback. At the end of the day, I do not care. You guys can hold me to this. If we do not go to the playoffs this upcoming season, Josh McDaniels has to go. I don't care about the coaching carousel. You're out of here. The end. Let me see. Yeah, he still has to make the playoffs. McDaniels is in the scorching hot seat. Facts. Facts, man. That's why I think he may get desperate and go get Aaron Rodgers. He may get desperate. And Mark might be chirping in his ear. Superstar, 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 superstar. He may be chirping in his ear. I feel Levis may be a dark horse. Jonathan, that is my guy, bro. That is my guy. He still needs a year to sit down, though. You know what I mean? Because all the problems that he has is in between the ears. He needs a chance to sit down and learn the game for a year. But I do believe that Levis is a dog, bro. USC isn't good at producing quarterbacks, but Caleb Williams is a GOAT. Yeah, that dude's a monster, bro. He's a monster. Definitely a monster. Shout out to Caleb Williams. He will go number 1 next season. Unless he just shits the bed this upcoming season. Let me see. I heard if McDaniels fails, Raiders might not even have a head coaching job. Oh, he's done. He's done. This is the last chance for Josh McDaniels. We know how this goes, you guys. If Josh struggles another year, he's out of here. And guess what? He'll go right back home. He'll go right back to Daddy Belichick. He'll be the offensive coordinator probably over there. I know they brought in what's his name from Alabama? O'Brien. They brought in Bill O'Brien as their OC. But I can definitely see him returning back to New England if he shits the bed again this season. He'll be a glorified offensive coordinator again. He will never have a head coaching job ever again in life because he will be known for that dude that went out and traded for Devontae Adams, went and got Chandler Jones in free agency, known for the guy that benched Derek Carr, you know what I mean, and moved on from him and still shit the bed. So at that point, look, 2 strikes is 3 strikes in the NFL. Denver was 1. Now Vegas is 2 and 3. Shout out to John. I need a 2-year commitment from Rodgers before I would trade for him. Enough of the retirement talk every year. This is facts. Facts, bro. At least a 2-year because you're giving up probably 2 first-round picks. Give me a year for each pick. But you still got to, I want to go get a young guy, man. But it would be insane to see Aaron Rodgers in a Raiders jersey. That would definitely be insane. Definitely, man. Shout out to everybody here in the building, man. Wipe them feet, hit them thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button, man. We talked about our quarterbacks, you know, whether it's A-Rod, Stroud, Levis, Anthony Richardson, whoever it is. We talked about all these other options. It's official, you guys. Tom Brady has officially retired for the second time, even though this time seems like it's very, very, very legit. I mean, the guy was damn near crying on the beach and shit. You know what I mean? It looks as though that was some movie type shit. It's over. Done deal with him. We got to move on. I think the first thing you have to do is bring back Stidham. You got to go talk to him. You got to go talk to his representation and say, look, what's it going to take to bring him back? I know it'll be inexpensive. I've said this before. I think Stidham is a system quarterback. He's been with Josh McDaniels for 4 years. He is a system guy. You know, I think him coming back is the best thing to happen if you don't go out and get an A-Rod, right? So in my personal opinion, you guys, you bring Stidham in, you bring him back, you go get a Stroud, a Levis, or one of these guys at 7 or trade up to go get him. Simple and plain. Steady returns, then you go trade up to go get your quarterback of the future, which probably will be CJ Stroud, because what I'm hearing is Ziegler is a big fan of CJ Stroud. So there you have it. Shout out to the 651 people in the building. We are coming up on an hour right now. I will be returning tonight to talk this one out. I want to see if I can get Shield more involved. Maybe we can all come on and talk about the quarterback position tonight. We shall see. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all though, man. Wipe them feet on the way out and make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Appreciate y'all. I'm outro. 1.